Hello, guys. So today we're going to look at some few past question paper, one from 2011, and then you're going to practice this on your own. I've actually uploaded the files to your Google Classroom so you can use to practice. So this is a question paper, and then these are the two software files that will be given to you. So we're going to use these files to answer the following questions. So we have the question paper here. It says you work for a company called Rock ICT. You're going to manipulate a spreadsheet about the performance of athletics in the shot put as they prepare for the 2012 Olympic Games. It now says using a suitable software package, load the file, j1games.csv. So this is the file, it's been opened up. And then it says place your name, center number, and candidate number in the header. So you go to your insert menu, and then under the text section you find your header and footer. So I'm just going to put my name here, and I put my center number like this, and then put the candidate number. So you can use any 4 digit of your choice in this case. And it says place the automated file name and file path in the footer. So I'm going to go to the footer section, and then I'm just going to click on file path. The reason why I'm using only the file path is because it's going to give you the file path and the file name. Now, if they asked for only the file name, then you can just go ahead and include the file name. Please do not do this. Do not put the file path and then go and add the file name again. So that's just going to give you an error, or you have the wrong information. This two information is enough. So to exit your header and footer, simply click on any of the cells to make it active, and then you can either come to the bottom here and then click on the normal view, or you can come to view here and then click on normal. So this is how you exit your header and footer. Now at every point in time, you need to make sure all your records is fully visible. Now in some cases, they might ask you to format your record. So in case the person asks you to do some formatting, we can simply just do that. From here, I can see something like this might be asked of you to merge cell A1 to F1. I'm working under the assumptions that we all know how to merge that. Make it centered. I might tell you to make it bold, increase the font size. They might tell you to add a shading, maybe light gray shading, and then change the font color to white, something like this. Okay? But whatever the case may be, I assume we all know how to do this part. Okay, so moving forward, question 6 says print only cell A1 to F4. So this is A1 to F4, and then it says make sure your name, center number, and candidate number are printed in the header. So I'm going to click on file and click on print. So we're going to be printing to PDF. The first thing we need to do is to make sure we select Microsoft Print to PDF as a printer. Then under the settings section, we need to ensure that we choose selection. Active sheet will simply mean that you're printing the current sheet you're working on and all the data in it. And then when you say print the entire workbook, meaning if you have more than one sheet on your workbook, let's say something like this, and then it contains data, so it's definitely going to print all the sheets in the workbook that contain data. So if I say print and then I choose entire workbook, So this is what will happen. So you can see it's going to print all of these, including the other sheets that contain data. Now the option that we need to go for will be the one that says print selection from the current active sheet. So I'm going to choose print selection. So we have only that record that was asked of us. Now I'm going to save this as a printout 1 because this is my first printout. And then the next part of the question says in cell A8, so this is cell A8, okay, it says use a lookup function to show the country name in full. Use the code column for the lookup value. So they're telling us our lookup value is this. And then the file j1country.csv as the table array. So this will be our table array here. Okay, so this is our table array we're going to be using for it. Now from the question, it did not specify or tell us whether we're supposed to use a VLOOKUP or a HLOOKUP. So how do you identify which of the lookup functions to use? It's very simple. You have to look at how each of the lookup code or the lookup value is arranged in your table array. So if I bring this up, for instance, this is where all the lookup codes or lookup values can be found in the table array, and they are arranged vertically. So we're going to be using the VLOOKUP function. Now, if our lookup values are arranged in the table array horizontally, then we know we're going to be using HLOOKUP. Now, VLOOKUP actually searches for your lookup value from the table array from the leftmost column. Okay, so it always searches from the leftmost column of the table array and then returns the corresponding value in the column that you specify. So to use the formula, the first thing it's asking for is our lookup value. This will be our lookup value. And then the table array. So I'll simply just come here and select all the values here. Please take note the way I'm highlighting. The next thing I'm going to do is to put a comma. Now it's asking me for my column index number. So the column index number simply means from which column do you want to retrieve the value from. So we want to retrieve the country name, and we can find that in column index number 2, because this will be column index number 1 of our table array, and then column index number 2 of our table array. So I'm going to type in the number 2. And next, our range lookup, meaning do you want to retrieve an approximate match, meaning if the value is not there, you should retrieve the next possible value, or you want to retrieve the exact value. So I'm going to choose false by double clicking on that, because I want to retrieve the exact match for that code there. So I'm going to press enter on my keyboard, and you can see it's giving me island for 8. So if you look at your table array, you see it's island. Okay. Now it says replicate this function so that the country name is shown in full for each of the athletes. So I'm going to just click here and then replicate the value down the column, just like this. So question 8, it says in cell K8, so we need to go to cell K8, this is cell K8. It says use a function to select and display the longest of the 6 rows made by the athlete. So to find the longest, that means we need to find the highest value. And of course, the function to use will be the max function, because that's used to find the highest value from a range of value. And I'm going to highlight all of the 6 rows, close my bracket, and then hit enter. Now it says replicate this function so that the best rows are shown for each applet. So I can simply just double click, or I can just hold down this way when I see the black cross, then drag down to the bottom here. Okay, so next it says because applets sometimes miss a throw and throw outside the area, this is recorded as in the spreadsheet as a no throw using the letters NT. Now it says in cell L8, this is cell L8, use a function to add the distance of all the throws for this applet. Okay? Ensure that the function does not include the distance if it is recorded as NT. So what we're going to use, we're going to simply use the sum function. Okay? So the sum function will basically add up all the values or all the cells that contain numbers only. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to replicate downwards. So only the cells that contain values will be added. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I need to be sure. Say I included the best row. So let me change that. Let's start like G9. Change this to J8. Good. And then I can replicate downwards. Much better. So please, you also need to be careful with the formulas, okay? Now, number of throws. That's question 10. In cell M8, use a function to count the number of throws that were not recorded as what? NT. Again, so we're going to use just the count function equal to count. Remember we said the count function count only cells that contain numbers. So when it said not recorded as NT, meaning it's only going to count the cells that contain numbers and not the ones that contain text. So here we have 6 rows, and then of course again we're going to replicate it down to the end. Okay, so you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this one there is no throw here. Okay, let's go to the next part. So in cell N8, which is here, it says calculate the average throw for only, okay, the average throw for only the throws where a distance was recorded. So use the content in cell L8 and M8 to help you. So here we have the total number of throws, and here we have the number of throws. So we can just simply do this and say equal to, we're going to say total number of throws divided by the number of throws. Now it says round this up to 1 decimal place. Okay, so to do this we can simply just round it up this way. Come on the formulas and then to 1 decimal place. Now, in case in the exam they ask you to use a function to round it up to 1 decimal place, what you can do is you can put your formula, it's called the round function, And when it says round it up, you can say round. If they say round it, then you use round. If they say round up, you use round up. If they say round down, you use round down. So I'm going to say round, and then this is the value we want to round to how many decimal place? 1. And then we have this, okay? But in this case, they just simply said we should round the value. So here I'm going to use basic formatting. Now I'm going to replicate this again down to the bottom. And then finally, question 12, in cell 08, which is here, use a formula to display the word yes if the athlete's longest throw breaks the Olympic record, or display the word no if it does not. Remember that there are 2 records, one for men and one for women. So let's analyze our data. So we have the shot put Olympic records here, and then the one for men, the longest distance is 23.3, and then for women is 22.63. So what they want us to do is to check to see if we're going to check to see if this throw supersedes this throw. And then we also need to check to see if the gender of the thrower is a male or a female. Okay? So because you have 2 Olympic records here, one for the male and the other for the female. So we first need to check to see if the athlete is a male. So if the athlete is a male, then we'll now check to see if this record supersedes this one. But if the athlete is a female, then we're checking to see if their best throw supersedes this one here. Again, we first check, because we're supposed to use a nested function. So first check if the athlete is a male. If the athlete is a male, then we'll check to see if their best throw is greater than this Olympic record. Okay, but if the athlete is not a male and the athlete is a female, that means we're checking now if this best throw supersedes this one. Okay, so let's see how that works out here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to write my first if function. And my logical test is to check the gender. So I'm going to say if this value is equal to, now I'm checking to see if it's a male. Now if it's a male, then that value is true. Then I'm going to check to see if the best record supersedes the Olympic record. So if, now my logical test to see is if this score is greater than this score. Okay? So now if this is true, they said we should display the text what? Yes, right? So I'm going to say yes with space mark. And then if it's not true, we're supposed to display no. Okay. So this is us doing our check for the male. Now we need to do our check for when this athlete is not a male, the athlete is a female. Okay, so we're going to say if the best throw is greater than this one now. That's for female. And then if this is true, we should display yes. And if it's false, we'll say no. I know it might look a bit confusing, but please feel free to pause the video, watch it over and over again. You can also look at the formula here. Okay? So focus on the formula bar here to help you understand it better. So Now we can do this. So it's checking and saying no. Also, we can replicate the formula. Let's see if we're not missing anything. Okay, so it says replicate this formula so that it displays automatically. And then I'm going to drag down. There we go. So no. I think we have one yes. So the yes here, best score is what? Best score is 22.4. And then the person is a male. Make sure we check best stroke 22.4. Okay, and the best stroke here is 23, so that is wrong. It's not supposed to. Okay, so again, let's look at the formula. So the D12 is equal to mu and K12, right, is greater than D7. So this is where my mistake happened. Okay. Alright, so this will bring us to we using our absolute cell reference. So we need to make sure that at every point in time, the comparison is only done with these two cells. Okay? So if it's a male, then I'm checking if that value there is greater than, I need to make the cell D3 an absolute cell reference so it doesn't move. And then the same thing, I need to make D4 an absolute cell reference as well. So I'm going to hit enter now, and then I can replicate this again. Good. Now I believe we're having a more accurate value, so it's still making reference to the Olympic records here. Okay, so if you don't understand the cell references I'm referring to, please go online, check YouTube videos for the 3 types of cell reference. They are relative cell reference, absolute cell reference, and mixed cell references. There are a lot of videos that explain those different cell references. Okay, moving forward. Now it says right align all the cells in column D to O. Okay, right align all the cells in column D to O. I'm going to take all the cells from column D to column O. Column D to O, and it should be right aligned. Then it says set the page, orientation to landscape. So you can do page layout, orientation, landscape, and then it says save the data model with the file name Atlet. So I'm going to come here, file, save as, and then save it inside my work area folder as well, Atlets. And then I'm going to change this to workbook. Okay, now the reason why I'm saving this to Excel workbook is because CSV does not retain formattings done, especially when you use formulas. But if you put it as workbook, then it will retain all the formattings and all the formulas entered. Okay, next it says hide column B and J, or B to J. So let's hide column B to J. And then I'm going to click on hide, and then it says print the spreadsheet showing the formula used. So I'm going to come to formulas and then click on show formulas. Okay, so in my case it's this icon, but you can actually see it properly in the full screen mode. So show formulas, and whenever you show formulas you need to make sure you adjust your column width so that your formulas are showing properly. Okay, so okay, now it says print the spreadsheet showing the formula used. Make sure that all the contents, make sure that all the cells are visible, and that the printout fits on 2 pages wide. Make sure all the rows and column headings are visible. So we're going to take it one after the other. I'm going to go to print, Microsoft Print to PDF, and this time around I'm going to say print active sheet. Okay, and sorry, file print, good, and then print active sheet, and then it says we should make sure all the content of cells are fully visible. So here it's visible. I'm going to go to page setup. Now the reason why I'm coming here is because it says that the row and column headings are visible. So to do that, I'll click on the Shift tab here and check where it says row and column headings, and then click OK, and then I'll click on print now. So this will be my printout too. The next thing I'm going to do is, okay, here of course my name, Central Bank, and name are showing, and then all the data incomes A to O is fully visible here. Now it says select only the outlets where the country is what? Great Britain. So they want us to start doing some formatting. So I'm going to stop showing formula, and then I'm going to highlight all the column headings here, and on my home menu I'm going to click on filter, now it says select all the countries. Okay, so we need to first make sure all the columns are visible, A to O. Almost missed that. Yeah, it says make sure all the columns are fully visible. There are other countries where it's Great Britain. So I'm just going to deselect all of these and then say Great Britain. And then it says use the atlas names and the average distance that each of these atlas draw the shot to create a vertical bar chart. Okay? Again, use the atlas names. So we have names of the athletes, and then the average distance that each of these athletes throw. So we need their average distance. And here we have average. So I'm holding down Control on my keyboard and selecting the average. And then we need to create a bar chart. So I'm going to say create. It says a vertical bar chart. Okay. So I'm going to look for vertical bar chart. Let me highlight athletes, hold down Control, and then the average. Okay, recommended. And then this time around I'm creating a vertical bar chart. So that's a column chart. Now I'm going to click OK. Now the next thing we're supposed to do here is to label the chart with the title average distance. Okay. average distance for British athletes. And it says make sure the category axis labels show the names of the athletes, and these are fully visible. So the names of the athletes are showing here, as you can see, and it's fully visible. It says print the chart, save this using the file name. Okay, chart. So I'm going to print it first. Print, and then print selected chart, and I'm going to call this printout. Printout 3. Okay, now it says we should save the chart using the file name. Okay, chart. So I'm going to save as picture, and then I'm going to call this chart, and I'll make sure it's saved in my work area folder, which is here. Now it says make sure your name, center number, and candidate number appear on the printed chart, and it did. And then it says open the spreadsheet saved in step 15. So this spreadsheet saved in step 15. Okay. Okay. Now it says hide columns what? L to M now. So we're hiding columns L to M. That's hiding this too. And then it says format only the cells in row 6 and 7. Okay, row 6 and 7. I need to clear this first. That's row 6 and 7. And then so that they are bold, italic, and center the line. It says interrogate the data to find all the athletes who have broken the current Olympic records. So we need to check here and say only those that have what? Yes. Now it says sort the data into ascending order of gender. So gender, ascending, that's A to Z. And then into descending order of the best row. So we have best row here, from largest to smallest. And then it says showing the values and labels in full except column L and M. Now it says print this showing the values, so we need to make sure that all the columns are fully visible. And then we print showing the values. So go to File, Print. Okay. Of course, make sure your name, center number, and candidate number appears. And then I'm going to click on Print. And this will be my printout 4. And then if you can do all of this, then it's pretty easy. You should be well covered and grounded for your upcoming test. I wish you all the best of luck. Bye.